We're expecting greatness, my friend. How are you doing?
There's only one way to go from here down, right?
I know. Isn't that the worst? You're like, yeah. You're supposed to start off slow and work your way up instead of coming out like gangbusters.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to tell people. Just for the people that want to comment this week about there being bad picks, just remember last week they were really good.
That's right. That's right. This is called gambling. It's not called saving. Okay, there's a difference. Risk is involved.
That's right.
Oh my God! Just a reminder: Larry's appearance on Greg Roberts Live, brought to you by Bugman and Heathen's Kettle Corn, which we have a huge bag of here, of little bags we're going to be throwing out at the game tomorrow, Larry. So going to be hitting people with some kettle corn. All right, let's get right to the games here. Let's start with the ACC games. Georgia Tech at Colorado. Georgia Tech is given 4.5 to the fighting Deion Sanders. What do you think?
Yeah, and I put on my sheet. I feel like I'm being fooled here because everybody and their brother is on Georgia Tech. I mean, Coach Elmo was talking about how good they looked, and I've been sucked in. So be cautious. I like Georgia Tech. I think they have the better team, but let's keep in mind Colorado has out-recruited Georgia Tech the last 2 years. So they got to go across country to Colorado. But we're taking Georgia Tech minus the 4.5.
Elsewhere, Syracuse and Tennessee. Tennessee is given 2 touchdowns. They're 14-point favorites. You, my friend, like the dog.
I do like the dog, and the reason Tennessee named Aguilar the quarterback a few days ago from Tennessee. He's the App State transfer.
Right.
But the only problem is he's thrown 24 interceptions the last 2 years at App State. We know that Coach Fran Brown at Syracuse is cutting his teeth from the Georgia defensive side of things.
Right.
So for that reason, I got Cuse plus 14.
Interesting. Good take there. A big one here. I'd like this more if this was 1989. Notre Dame at Miami. Now, again, if Jimmy Johnson and Lou Holtz were on the sideline, I'd be a little more excited. But it's not like the old Orange Bowl days. Notre Dame on the road is a 2.5-point favorite. What do you think?
So, there's a few teams that we're going to talk about tonight. Miami, Nebraska. We've heard that they're back for the last, 3 years now.
Right.
And they might be. I mean, Miami has done a lot in the portal and a lot with recruiting. Notre Dame returns a lot, especially on defense. And they've got one of, if not the best running back, the Love kid in the country, to go along with 5 300-pound returners. That's big time. So I think having offensive line back, that's kind of a null and void for Miami's defensive line because they're supposed to be good too.
Right.
But with that running back, I think that travels. So I'm going to go Notre Dame minus the 2.5. Defensively, they might be the best defensive backfield in the country.
Yeah, and they're going to. And Carson Beck's throwing to him. Oh boy.
And that's what I was saying. He's a gunslinger.
He is. He'll throw it. You just don't know quite which way it's going.
That's true.
Elsewhere, another big one again that could have been bigger, 20 years ago. Bama hitting the road to Tallahassee. Alabama is a 14-point favorite taking on a team coming off a 2-10 year. I kind of have 2 questions here. One, obviously, who do you like in this one? 2, what do you think of Florida State's chances of bouncing back? Go ahead.
Well, I don't believe in Norvell.
Right.
I don't know if I believe in the quarterback that was at Boston College last year. Remember, he pretty much quit on the team.
He did. He got benched and quit.
Yeah. He just said, I'm not playing anymore. So I don't know. That to me says a lot. I think the injury running back, J.M. Miller for Bama hurts them because it just happened last week.
Right.
But I also think, like I said, I'm not believing in Norvell. And he ran his mouth a little bit preseason where he said, they asked him about the game, and he said, I turned that job down for a reason. So I believe that went up on the chalkboard for sure.
Well, and the quarterback said the same dumb stuff.
Yeah, they're talking crap. For that, I like Bama because you ain't heard a word out of them.
Yeah, and I don't get how you're 2-10 last year. When you start running your mouth, what that to me is fake confidence. That's like you're worried about yourself. You're not very good, so you're trying to hype yourself up by talking junk.
I agree.
Yeah. Elsewhere, the big game, one of the big games, LSU at Clemson. The Tigers are given 3.5. Okay, the Clemson Tigers are given 3.5. You like LSU?
I like LSU. I'm gonna tell you why. So Kelly's 0-5 the last 5 openers.
Right.
I feel like if anything, they went portal shopping on the defensive side of the ball for this game. They want this game. They want the statement game. And to be honest with you, the front end of the schedule after this is not tough. So they get a little bit of a reprieve.
Right.
But I feel like they have focused more on this game than maybe Clemson has. Now, either one of them could lose and still be fine. I just think getting 3.5, I think they probably have the better quarterback of the two, although I think Klubnik's really good. Nussmeier's, he could have went pro this year and came back.
Right.
For that reason, I think Kelly has planned for this game, so I'm going to take the 3.5. I don't know that they win, but I like the fact that it's a hook on the 3.
Well, and I think it's interesting, like you said, Kelly's 0-5 in openers. By sheer math, he's due for a win, right? I mean,
right.
Going 0-6 would be just really unprecedented for a coach at that level. So I'm not a huge fan of Brian Kelly, but I just feel like, okay, dude, you got to walk into one at some point.
Especially now that we have NIL, we keep buying stuff.
Right. Yeah.
We keep buying this. We can't just keep buying stuff if you're not going to win.
That's right. We're going to let somebody else buy the stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Big game locally. Virginia opens up. They host Coastal Carolina. The Hoos are 12-point favorites. We've been talking about it. Coastal Carolina, their coach is, Jamie Chadwell's now at Liberty. Are people still looking at Coastal like he's still there and they're really good? Because 12 points is a lot.
It's a lot. And, Coach Elmo, we were on with him last week, and he actually went to see Coastal this offseason. He said that their offensive line was humongous. And so I said, let me start doing an investigation. And he's right. They are. But here's the problem. I think people are this is kind of week one, teams become darlings, right? People love, that's an upset. That's an upset. I tell you what people haven't looked at is what Virginia has on the defensive side of the ball. They have 3 300-pounders, on the defensive line, and then their linebackers are going at 235, 240.
That's big boys.
That's some big boy, and they got cornerbacks at 205, 210, 215. So from that standpoint, I like UVA minus the 12.
Gotcha. Now, the other big local game, Virginia Tech, going down to Atlanta to take on South Carolina, 3 o'clock on Sunday. The Gamecocks are 7.5-point favorites, and you like the Gamecocks.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a head-scratcher, Justin, and help me out here. So the line dropped from 10 to 7.5.
Right.
South Carolina was just awarded a 1,000-yard rusher this week, which we kind of, if people that have been paying attention thought that might happen. And then now we've got, the middle linebacker at Tech got in trouble with the DUI. I mean, he's going to at least set him some, I would think, in the beginning. Maybe if it's a quarter, I don't know. But still, there seems like that's a little bit of a bad mojo running around up there at Tech. But the line never moved. So that's a head-scratcher. I think Tech plays well. I do. But 7.5 with what Lenore Sellers can do on offense for South Carolina, I just got to take South Carolina to cover that 7.5.
Yeah, and I think maybe something would have changed had Pry come out and said, yeah, he's not playing the first half, but right now they're kind of in that, well, we haven't decided yet mode.
Right.
Now, granted, Brent may have decided. He's just not going to tell anybody.
Exactly.
If you're a Tech fan, here's how you have to spin this, okay? When Tech got it rolling in the early mid-'90s and into the 2000s, they're always good for having a couple kids get in trouble here and there. So maybe this is a good thing. And I'm not making light of what he did because that's dumb. But spin it that way. Hey, if we have a couple kids getting in trouble, maybe that means we're a little. I don't know. Maybe we're a little better.
Yeah.
All right, the big national games. Okay, the noon kickoff Saturday. Texas at Ohio State. Buckeyes only a 1.5-point favorite at home.
Well, and it's dropped from 3.5. It was 3.5.
Okay.
I'll just say this. I hate to say this because I cannot stand Texas. So sorry, Texas fans, but I like Texas with the points here. I mean, I feel like they have the better quarterback going in. At least he has some experience versus Ohio State's new quarterback. I think they have the better offensive coordinator. I think Sarkisian's better than Ryan Day.
Right.
Now, there's going to be pros on this field on both sides, right? I just think defensively Texas is stacked, and defense travels early on. So for that reason, I'm taking Texas in the points, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, and either way, it should be a great game. So
I agree.
At least we hope. All right, the locks. We go out west. Utah at UCLA. The Utes are 6.5-point favorites. You pull a Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend.
Yeah, so they both have new quarterbacks. Utah's bringing in the Dampier kid from New Mexico and his offensive coach. So he's going to run. They're going to run him. And, of course, Nico lost money and went to UCLA instead of being at Tennessee, right?
Bad business decision.
Bad business. I think Utah will be better long term. In fact, Big 12-wise, I think they're going to be in the hunt. I just feel like Nico obviously has a little bit more experience being at Tennessee last year. And I think being at home under Foster, that's the head coach at UCLA.
Sean Foster.
Under year 2, I'll take UCLA in the points there. Just has that feel of, hey, new guy, new coach with the offensive coordinator over at Utah. Yeah, I'll take the points.
All right, your other lock, Georgia Southern at Fresno. Georgia Southern given 2.5. You're going with Fresno.
Yeah. I think this is a what did you see last week type of line. So Georgia Southern now has to go across the country to California for Fresno, right? Fresno didn't show. They had a no-show versus Kansas last week. They were one of the week 0 guys. So they've got a game under their belt, 1. And 2, they played a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
Georgia Southern's not going to be throwing the ball like that. They're going to be running the ball. So for that reason, at home, bounce back game 2, I like Fresno the points.
And quickly, your final lock, Toledo at Kentucky. The Wildcats only 9-point favorites.
So this was 12.5. This was 12.5 at one point. So everybody's hopped on Toledo. This is a darling, like we talked about.
Right.
There's a difference between SEC caliber players and MAC caliber players. The Jimmies and Joes meet more, I think.
Right.
And I think for that reason, I'm going to take Kentucky minus the 9. I think it's about right, 9 or 10. But since it dropped from 12.5 to 9, we'll take the SEC team.
There you go, folks. To recap the locks, Larry likes UCLA against Utah, Fresno against Georgia Southern, and Kentucky against Toledo. Larry, we appreciate your time, my friend. I expect another 9-1 this week.
Yeah, well, we've got picks on the podcast for tonight and for tomorrow. So
there you go. Yeah, check out Larry's podcast as well.
Yep.
Larry Thomas, appreciate you. Your appearance brought to us by Bugman and Heathens Kettle Corn. Have a